Right now, you're going to say, oh, but the filibuster could be used as a tool to stop their legislative agenda. Brother, they are not even using the congressional powers at all. He's currently doing whatever he wants to without even using Congress. The only time the Democrats used the filibuster was for Cory Booker to pee in a diaper. Right now, whatever Trump wants in terms of his legislative agenda, he already pushes through the executive office. So at the very least, if the filibuster is gone, then that changes the dynamic of Congress altogether. This is the best. This actually is the best photo. This is the photo I was talking about. This is a defining photo of this administration. I love that. Just a dude dying. Literally within reaching distance. And the president's like, what are you gonna do?
$1 a year. And most importantly, higher productivity. Today is about freeing Americans from the weight, literally and figuratively, that holds us back. It's about unlocking the potential of every citizen to live fully, to contribute fully, and to find joy in their health. We cannot reach our full potential as a nation if we do not reach our full potential as individuals. And we cannot reach our full potential as individuals if we are not healthy. Thanks to Nova and Lily for showing up so constructively over the last several months to make this possible. In particular, thanks to you, Mr. President, for again demonstrating that you fight for every American, this time for potential. It's now my sincere pleasure to first introduce Dave Ricks from Lilly and then Mike Dustar from Nova.
Thank you. Great, thank you, Chris. It's truly an honor to be here today for this historic step forward to expand access to a class of medications that can fundamentally change the arc of chronic disease in our country. Of course, these are the incretin or GLP-1 agonist that we've been speaking about. For nearly 150 years, has been investing in America. We've been advancing science.
I paused. Don't worry. I paused. I'm waiting. The F is over. We're back. We're back. Tom Cott's chewing on the internet cables right now. I know. We're back.
Science and creating high-value jobs. But today, we... Oh, are you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
They put, dude. This is what happens when he stands near JD Vance, brother. That's what happened. Wait, replay it. I missed it.
For nearly 150
this
years,
guy, look.
My company, Eli Lilly, has been investing in America. We've been advancing science and creating high-value jobs. But today, we... Oh, are you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
RFK dipped? Wait, what? Where is RFK?
That we've been speaking about.
Why are you guys saying RFK dipped? RFK's right here.
That can fundamentally America. We've been oh, are you okay? Gordon, you okay?
Oz rushes towards him. Where does RFK go? Do you guys have a better angle? I need to see his motion. Why did he run away? Is he the one responsible? What the
creating high-value jobs. But today, we... Oh, are you okay? Gordon, you okay?
What the dude, it's an admin full of sickos, dude. That's so funny. It's definitely the opposite. It's definitely the opposite response that you would expect of someone. Like, it's just like a not human thing to do. Why did he just go the... Bro, he walked away like he did it. He walked away like he was responsible, bro. Look at this.
You okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but he probably was looking for help. I'm assuming he was looking for help. He probably ran over to get help, but to make sure that the help didn't bring Tylenol. You know what I mean? Because, like, if someone else went to get help, they might have accidentally brought Tylenol. Newsmax's immediate response to the medical emergency at the Oval Office, President Trump, we want to be clear, is okay.
So you're looking live right now. President Trump, we want to be clear, is okay. We know that Dr. Oz, there was some sort of medical emergency. The president in the Oval Office announcing this historic agreement draft.
None of the important people in the room are in any danger. Don't worry.
Mr. President, given these modifications that are being made to air travel, the other disruptions with the government shutdown, do you think it's time for Republicans in Congress to change their negotiating position at all?
In what way?
To start making concessions to Democrats?
Well, I think it's time for them to end the filibuster and just put everybody back to work. Vote in voter ID, vote in no mail-in voting except for military, faraway military, and people that are very sick. I'd like to see one-day voting. I'd like to see not 65 days of voting from all over the place. No, I'd like to clean up the elections. The border, we've done a great job. We have a great, strong border now. But I'd like to see new rules on immigration that can be fair and good, you know, but rules that you'll never get, rules that they're never going to get. There's so many things we could put in, including tax cuts that we could get, and we could do it all ourselves. But to do that, you have to end the filibuster. The filibuster.
I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, why not? Controversial opinion. I've given up on the Democrats doing this ever. So I'm glad that the Republicans are doing it. Let them do it. Guess what? Guess what? Right now, you're going to say, oh, but the filibuster could be used as a tool to stop their legislative agenda. Brother, they are not even using the congressional powers at all. Fox News, Zoran puppet turns on him. What do you mean? He's currently doing whatever he wants to without even using Congress. The only time the Democrats used the filibuster was for Cory Booker to pee in a diaper. Right now, whatever Trump wants in terms of his legislative agenda, whatever Trump wants in terms of his legislative agenda, he already pushes through the executive office. So at the very least, if the filibuster is gone, then that changes the dynamic of Congress altogether. That's it. The Senate would just be a smaller house. The filibuster currently is a conservative tool that Republicans use to undermine the agenda of the Democrats, because the Democrats need to build. The Democrats need to pass legislation. They need to fund things. And the Republicans will use the filibuster as a tool, which, by the way, they don't even use. They don't even actually use the filibuster in the way that they're supposed to. You only saying this because it won't affect you? Sick of you? Wait, what? Wait, what does that mean? Chatter, what do you think the filibuster is, man? Bro, that's so funny. He just said, oh, yeah. Yeah, you would. You would want the filibuster to be abolished. You asshole. Like, only because it doesn't affect you. The way the filibuster is supposed to work is that it's a process method to basically stop a bill from being passed with a simple majority in the Senate. Because the only way to override the filibuster is a vote that requires more than just a simple majority. Okay? And normally, the only way that you're supposed to do it historically is by standing on the floor of the Senate and delivering a speech. Okay? Uninterrupted. Stop eating, bro. Stop eating, holy stow. No, I will not stop eating. I'm going to continue eating, chatter. I'm hungry. My food's not even here yet. I'm just snacking right now. I'm doing the snack segment. But after the snack segment is over, you will see me eating like actual food as well. But in any case, Uncle Sam's talking about nuking the filibuster. I would need this guy to explain. I need this guy to explain what he means when he said, you only saying this because it won't affect you, sick of you. Like, he needs to explain to me why he's Mr. Advocate for the filibuster.
Okay, but let's just be clear here.
Oh.
So first off, there's a couple things. Trump just admitted that it's Republicans who are standing in the way of any type of legislation going forward, right? They have the ability to get rid of the filibuster. They can do this. And then he says, we're going to pass our agenda. What is our agenda? Nothing, except for trying to ensure that we can win the midterms.
Exactly.
I mean, literally nothing. This is also why it would be good for the Republicans to get rid of the filibuster, because Democrats will never do it on their own. They're too cowardly.
Yep.
They're too cowardly. They're too cowardly. And Republicans are afraid of getting rid of the filibuster, too, because once you get rid of the filibuster, you actually, as a political party, have to own your decisions. You have to own them.
And the Republicans don't want to get rid of the filibuster because it benefits them disproportionately. Yeah. We've said this before. You know, under Biden, there were at one point 50 Democratic senators and 50 Republican senators. And the 50 Democratic senators represented 40 million more people than the 50 Republican senators, because Montana has the same number of senators as California does. So it is undemocratic in the construction of the institution. And then you put on another layer of undemocracy of the filibuster needing a 60-vote threshold for most legislation. Yeah.
The first thing you're talking about, that Montana and California have the exact same amount of representation in the Senate, is constitutional. The filibuster
is not.
Is just habit.
Yeah.
That's basically.
It's true. It's not a constitutional. There's no constitutional provision or anything, no constitutional amendment. It's just like something that the Senate decided to do and has continued to do. Okay? Oh, so just following Unk's talking points? What do you mean? Unk and I agree on this issue. What the f are you talking about? Oh, God, hold on. Oh, do I call the front desk?
Right. And they're looking at a guy with historic unpopularity right now, telling them to give up their major strategic advantage in the Senate because he wants to ram his bill through and doesn't want to have to negotiate with Democrats to save their own ass, by the way. He's worried about the midterms because...
That's it.
That's it.
He doesn't care about anything else.
But rigging it, though, or intimidating his way because he doesn't want to cave. But the problem for him is that if these ACA subsidies, they let them expire... every Republican is going to be up for re-election in the fall in 2026 in the House. They could get wiped out over that. So, I mean, he's putting them in a horrible position, which is actually good. Yeah.
And I think that, you won't see Democrats saying, well, he just admitted that the Republicans, if they don't pass any legislation, it's a function of the Republicans. They have the ability to get rid of the filibuster. And let's be clear, they've done it 3 times already this year.
Yeah. Is there anything stopping them from eliminating the filibuster only to reinstitute it after? Yeah, it's when the Democrats come back into power and they do it on their own because they love hurting their own agenda. What is the purpose of the filibuster? It's just a process method to stop bills from being passed. Technically, the way the filibusters used to work is in the Senate, you can just stop a bill from being passed by taking up space, going to the floor of the Senate and speaking, okay, uninterrupted. And for as long as you could go uninterrupted, you could stop the passage of this bill, okay, by yapping. And the only way to overcome this filibuster was with not a simple majority vote, but instead a supermajority vote, okay? And historically, people have done funny things, silly things, whatever, right? However, because our gerontocracy has gotten even older than ever before, somewhere along the way, we realized nobody even wants to stand up. So the mere threat of a filibuster was all that was necessary, which is why most of these bills that could be passed with a simple majority do not get passed with a simple majority because everyone threatens that they will filibuster. Now you can just threaten to filibuster it, and like people basically operate as though you need a supermajority to pass bills in Congress. Because you need a supermajority to stop a filibuster in Congress. That's it. Okay.
They did it to roll back cafe standards, I think it was, in California. There was 2 other times that they literally nuked the filibuster. And they could do it here. And if they do, though, that means Democrats have a license now to do it.
Yeah.
And Chuck Schumer is very afraid of that. There are Democrats who are afraid of that because you don't want like, you need a built-in excuse. That's why Cuomo created the IDC, is because he needed a cover as to why he wasn't signing off on progressive legislation because it would interfere with the donors. Let's get rid of the filibuster. I am with Donald Trump on this. That's the thing. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I agree with Donald Trump. Let's get rid of the filibuster and allow the Republicans to do what they're.
Yes. And a part of the reason why Sam is saying this, and I agree with him on this, is because Republicans already get their agenda across anyway. Like, they're currently passing everything through the executive mandate. Like, it's insane because Republicans don't necessarily need the great deliberative body to, especially when they're in power, they don't need the great deliberative body of the Senate to enact out their agenda. Their agenda is deregulation. Their agenda is tax cuts. They already passed the tax cuts. They did that with simple majority through the funding mechanism, so it doesn't matter, right? So for that reason, they low-key are doing whatever the fuck they want to do without the filibuster. So the filibuster in and of itself is only going to be a hurdle for the Democrats down the line if they ever get back into power. Unless, of course, these very same Democrats are trying not to enact a legislative agenda, and they can use the filibuster to claim that they have another hurdle. Okay? Can't rewind. You can't rewind if you're not subscribed. If you're subscribed to the Piker Broadcasting Service, you can rewind. But if you don't subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, you can't. You all right, boss? Why are people saying, am I all right? Yes, I'm all right. What the
do.
Anyway, but yeah, I agree with Uncle Sam on that.
And they'll do it too. They'll immediately do it. You know, what they're gonna do is, what the Democrats will do is they're gonna make Puerto Rico a state. They're gonna make D.C. a state. They're going to pack the court. They're gonna end up with more electoral votes. They're gonna end up with 4 senators because of the 2 states. And they're going to do this 100%. They would have done it, except Manchin and Sinema got in their way. They would have done it. So if they're going to do it, I would do it. I would do it before them.
And you think that the longer
like Israel attacked first. That attack was very, very powerful. I was very much in charge of that.
What the?
Attacked Iran first. It was a great day for Israel because that attack did more damage than the rest of them put together. What I'd like to see is voter ID. Who wouldn't approve voter ID? The Democrats. Why wouldn't they approve it? Because they cheat. There's only one reason we don't have voter identification. And we should have it. If we got rid of the filibuster, in one day you'd have voter identification. The only reason they don't want it is because they cheat.
Mr. President.
Bro, sundowning Biden style. I don't understand what Israel has to do with any of this, but
A federal judge
he wants to
has ordered
preemptively
President
strike the
Trump to
Democrats, I
fully
think.
Fund SNAP benefits for November by tomorrow. Judge John McCall criticized the Trump administration for making partial payments, saying, quote, people have gone without for too long. Not making payments to them for even another day is simply unacceptable. So for more on this, I want to bring in ABC News Washington, D.C. Bureau Managing Editor Catherine Falders, who has been covering this. And Catherine, it's really notable just how much of a rebuke Judge McConnell made here.
Yeah, it really is. It was quite striking. Of course, he probably went, Alex, as far as I've seen any federal judge go, at least in the past few months, over a direct rebuke to the president himself, saying that he believed that Trump expressed this intent to defy a court order. Now, remember, of course, this all comes because McConnell, the judge, had ordered the Trump administration to make these payments. They said they could partially fund these payments. Basically, what happened here is the judge said he was not satisfied with the partial payments that the administration said they could make, and then the obstacles that the administration said that were getting in the way of paying it, meaning they couldn't do it for 2 or 3 weeks or maybe even months. Now, what was so striking to me about this is the judge said the Trump administration ignored his order, of course, to restart the SNAP payments quickly, but the judge attributed that to the president attempting to disrupt the payments for called political reasons here. So very unhappy with the way this was handled. Now, I will say we haven't heard from anybody in the Trump administration yet on this. I could imagine that the Department of Justice may be preparing papers to appeal this ruling. We'll have to go out tomorrow, and that people's cards will be reloaded. I can't imagine that it would happen that quickly. We're at close of business today, but we'll just have to see what happens here next.
Well, and one of the things that we've heard from, in a lot of these food pantries where that service SNAP beneficiaries is, even if the faucet's cut back on, there's likely going to be some confusion and some time there. But Catherine, listen, this judge was one of the ones that blocked that another Trump 2.0 executive action earlier this year. He had recently spoken out publicly about 6 credible death threats directed at him in the wake of that. Listen, this is pretty rare, seeing a judge speak publicly like this. What more do we know? And is it a surprise that he made this ruling?
Look,
it's so insane that this is how we operate. This is just what our politics is now. Oh, you went up against my God as a judge? Well, here's some death threats. Very cool. There's a good chance SCOTUS will rule against him on the tariffs. Is there any chance he could finally be impeached and removed if he openly defies them? I feel like just defying a federal judge on SNAP won't be enough. Brother, the sky is the limit. Are court orders anything? Yes, you go to prison. You can be held in contempt of court and go to jail.
I think that on the one hand, right, he has spoken publicly about those death threats, and in the past, obviously, you talk about that other ruling. He's ruled against the Trump administration before. I would think that the judge is separating that and those comments from how he was thinking in ruling as it relates to what was before him in the court the past week or so. Now,
don't worry, all the rest
that's on the front of his mind. I think that the Trump administration, whenever they make a comment about the judge or who knows, Trump hasn't said anything about the judge yet, but you know how he feels about judges who rule against him, and I'm sure he's aware potentially of the comments that this judge has made, so that could come up in that way. But I'm not totally surprised by the rule, not so much because of the comments that the judge has made in the past about these death threats, but because of what on his social media account earlier this week about basically saying that SNAP payments wouldn't go out until the Democrats reopen the government, something that the White House press secretary tried to walk back, but Trump himself has not really clarified.
Yeah.
I'll arrest them.
Catherine Falders, thank you.
Airports across the country are bracing for even more flight cancellations and delays.
Oh,
After the FAA announced
I had this experience this morning, by the way. I had the FAA experience, chatters. I flew in from LaGuardia, which is, of course, a smaller airport than JFK. And while we were sitting on the tarmac, I got cooked. We got a 40-minute delay. You totally forgot your personal news today? Yeah, I don't care about personal news right now. The problem is, I don't even know how the I'm going to get back to LA. And then I don't even know how I'm going to get to China too. So we shall see. 40-minute delay means Steam Deck time? No, for me it wasn't Steam Deck time. 40-minute delay meant sleeping. Because it was early as hell in the morning. But yeah, I know you're reading this. What is your moral or ethical justification for not being vegan? I know you're reading this shit, lol. Yeah, it's delicious. The food I eat.
and will cut 10% of flights at dozens of major airports.
Our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible.
Experts say airlines would be forced to cancel thousands of flights nationwide in the coming days.
What will this mean practically for air travel? Is this going to lead to more flight delays, more cancellations?
Well, I think it's going to lead to more cancellations. We're going to work with the airlines to do this in a systematic way.
ABC News obtaining the list of the 40 airports that will be impacted, from the nation's busiest airport, Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson, to LAX, Dallas, JFK, Miami, Detroit, and DCA here in Washington. Air traffic controllers have been forced to work without pay during the government shutdown, leading to staffing shortages, delays, and ground stops. More than 60,000 TSA workers also missing their paychecks, creating long lines and wait times at security checkpoints.
We're petrified. We are concerned.
At Dulles International Airport, FAA radar technician and union rep Cleverson Schmidt says the strain has reached a breaking point.
So you were already short-staffed?
Correct.
And how much worse has the shutdown made it?
It's exponentially made it worse because we're exhausted now.
And how much does that compromise air safety?
Every day it goes up. That compromise goes up every single day.
Sources say the FAA will start cutting 4% of flights starting tomorrow and ramp up throughout the weekend. The CEO of Frontier Airlines now encouraging passengers to buy backup tickets on separate airlines if they're flying in the next 10 days. Experts warning of massive headaches for travelers.
I'm sorry, what do you mean? Just cancel the flight. Like what? Oh, you want to get back home, just buy multiple tickets? That's crazy. No, dude, it's up to you to limit the number of flights that you are making available. Like what? What do you mean? Buy backup tickets? What the I hate this country, bro. I swear to God. He said, hey, you want to fly back home? Sorry, gotta buy 2 tickets now instead of 1. Yeah, airlines already do overcapacity sales too in order to max out on their profits.
This is going to be an unimaginable, unprecedented, unwelcome, unpleasant level of chaos. If you don't have to fly starting on Friday, please don't. Stay home.
So if you are traveling in the next few days, here is what you can expect. More delays and more cancellations. These restrictions begin tomorrow. They're going to ramp up over the course of the weekend and into next week. The Transportation Secretary even saying he may be forced to close parts of the U.S. airspace as this government shutdown continues. Now, some airlines like United are offering customers full refunds if they decide they do not want to travel, even if their flights are not impacted. But if you do decide to keep your flights, you are going to want to show up to the airport extra early. You're going to want to keep checking to make sure that your flight is still scheduled to take off, Michael.
Yeah, this is affecting so many people, Rachel. And Rachel, we're now learning that a government program that helps millions with energy assistance is being suspended.
Yeah, and this is definitely a gut punch, Michael, to so many across the country because millions of low-income Americans are already worried about whether they're going to receive their SNAP benefits, that federal food assistance program. And now the Trump administration announcing that it is halting funding due to the government shutdown for an energy program that helps low-income Americans, about 6 million of them, pay their heating bills. Of course, this comes as we are approaching winter and the colder months, and as this shutdown drags into day 37, Michael.
All right, Rachel, thank you all, as always, for your great reporting. I appreciate you.
What the is wrong with your country? How can the government just choose to shut down? What the is not a real country? What do I say to that? I mean, you're right. It's a clown show, dude. I don't know. Every day that I watch this administration move the way that it does is another day where I'm coming closer and closer to this thing that I otherwise would have considered a conspiracy theory before, but now I think it is the truth. They want riots. I think they want riots. They want riots so they can violently put the riots down so they can do martial law. That's what I think. Summer Lee tweeted out the video of you.
I still have to turn over. Hey guys, it is day 37 of the shutdown. We are now in the longest shutdown ever, but spoiler alert, I'm actually here with Hasan Piker.
I look like such a clown ass dude. I'm not, I genuinely think we're trying to do a riot. Like the admin is trying to push and push and push and push until something takes place, you know, until people say enough is enough and there's mass instability, and then they violently put down said mass instability, and then they use that as a justification for martial law, all of that good stuff.
Off their kids when eyewitnesses say federal immigration agents chased a woman who cares for infants inside the school, then forcibly took her out.
For someone to
what the f is this shit, dude? I mean, this is the same stuff.
Children is just not right.
Elected officials say the agent showed no warrant and ignored the teacher when she told them she had work papers.
They didn't just walk in chasing one person. They went in for rooms asking and looking for teachers, while children were present. This is an agency that has gone.
The Department of Homeland Security said officers attempted to conduct a targeted traffic stop, but the male driver and female passenger ran into a daycare and attempted to barricade themselves inside. ICE said the teacher, Diana Galliano, entered the country illegally in 2023 and last month tried to smuggle in her children. Congressman Mike Quigley says Galliano has a work permit and legal documentation.
No parent should ever have to explain to their child why their teacher was dragged away by armed officers. And no teacher should fear that showing up to work to care for and educate kids could result in their arrest.
The community demanding the woman's release.
For this to be a reality of all the parents standing here is insane. It is surreal. It is a nightmare.
All of this occurred as a federal judge in Chicago is considering whether to put restrictions on certain tactics of immigration agents. And in this teachers community, there is real worry, guys, about where these ICE agents may go next.
Understandable. Yeah. Okay, Aaron, thanks very much.
And will become 5. Yeah.
Mr. President, Zoran Mandami, you said that, you called him a communist. You said that if he won, you would.
Yeah, they're all moving the military bases, bro.
White House.
All the Trump administration officials are moving to military bases. I genuinely think they want riots. But what's really interesting is like they've also been so disrespectful to the military as well. So I don't even know how they're going to be actually safe. Because like the American military is very diverse, right? Sure, they have to follow orders. That's the whole point. But the military is still comprised of the regular demographics of the country. So they're diverse. They got undocumented migrant family members. I don't know why the administration just assumes that they're going to follow along no matter what. And on top of that, they're pissing off the... I had to fix the ingest, sorry. Yes, it effed, I know. I had to fix the ingest.
Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now live on military bases. They are among at least 6 senior Trump administration appointees to do so.
In the case of Stephen Miller in Northern Virginia, there was a protest group that was putting out flyers with his address, chalking his sidewalks. And then Kristi Noem moved around the same time, but she moved out of her apartment in Southeast because there were pictures run in the Daily Mail basically showing the building she was living in, and that made her uncomfortable. Activists regularly protest outside their houses and regularly do things to make them uncomfortable. Officials can be made to be uncomfortable. What I think the shift here is that people are pulling this escape hatch. You know, there wasn't a lot of examples in the last couple of administrations of officials who, when they faced protests like this, deciding to leave their home.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now live on military bases. They are among at least 6.
Like, what? That's weird. Very strange for a politician to say. As Governor Kathy steps up to speak, a few in the crowd chant, "Tax the rich." "I hear you," she responds, "but I'm the type of person, the more you push me, the more I'm not going to do what you want." Wait, what? Kathy Hochul says, "I'm not going to do it because you asked of me to do it." I don't know if she knows this, but that's the opposite of how the democratic process works. She knows she's elected, right? Is she all right? She said, "I have an avoidant personality." Do you think you get to keep the job? Like, I don't understand. Very strange.
Drastic action against New York City. What kind of actions are you looking at, and will the ICE deportations continue?
Well, I think you have to look. If he is a communist, you know there's not going to be a lot of activity. So you wouldn't need bridges and tunnels and all the different things that were being planned for New York, I think. And look, I hope New York does well. That's all I can say. I love New York. I grew up in New York. I did well in New York.
What are you saying? I have seen the National Guard in DC, yes. Brother, what does that even mean? Like, I mean, I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say the guy's a communist, and therefore I'm going to shut down all of the existing infrastructure projects that we were funding, where there was budget allocation for, by the way. Not that, like, Trump is personally funding it. He's not a god. He's not a king. He's saying he's going to stop the previously allocated funds that are supposed to go to building roads and bridges in New York State, specifically in New York City. He's saying he's going to try and stop it.
Did well, and I hope New York does well. That's what.
And the ICE raids, will they continue?
ICE raids? Well, you want to get criminals out. If they're criminals, we want to get them out. Ideally, we wouldn't have to do them because he'll send the criminals out himself. But that seems to be unlikely. No, we have to get criminals out. You know, millions of people were let into our country from prisons and from mental institutions and drug dealers, a lot of drug dealers and murderers, 11,888 murderers. 50% of them committed more than one murder. We want to get them out. So whether they're in New York or anywhere else, we want to get them out. We've created a great place in Washington. All of you know, you see the difference between what it was now and what it was a year ago under Biden. It was a death trap, and now it's people walk down the street, they have dinner, the restaurants are booming. Washington, D.C. is great. I will tell you, Memphis is doing really well too. You're hearing those reports. It's companies were going to move out. They're not going to move out anymore. We've done a great job, and we've only been there for 4 weeks. So we've done a great job with that. But they have killers in New York. We want to get them out. If they have murderers, if they have people from jails that they allowed out of their jails in order to save a lot of money, we want them out of here. We want to put them back in their jails, not our.
After what happened during the election, some Dems are saying.
Incredible. How long do you think this shutdown will last? I am hearing whispers that there are some who are there are some on the Dem side that might cave. Unexpected ones, too. I got insider info. I think Cuck's had enough. He doesn't want to fight it anymore, I think. And We shall see. So should we all die? I think it is a terrifying precedent to set that you literally did this whole thing and you got no assurances and then you cave without any assurances. So then what was the point? What was the point then? You're basically training the entire country to know that you got nothing. You got no motion. You got no bitches. You got no smoke. Your smoke's not loud. Okay? Your bitches are not bad. You have been found devoid of motion. Like, I'm telling you, it's just, I mean, all jokes aside, it's just, like, what was the reason for this back and forth? I think Marge is at the door.
They have the momentum, and that Tuesday's election shows voters have turned on President Trump. So what might this mean for next year's midterms? Because a lot of people are shifting to that now. CNN's Harry Enton here with us. I need to make sure I give you your due, Chief Data Correspondent Harry Enton. What did Tuesday's elections tell you about how important Trump will be for down ballot Republicans?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of Republicans who saw those polls that, showed Donald Trump low nationally, and they didn't necessarily believe him. But for Democrats, those polls are real, and they are spectacular. And the reason I say that is because take a look here. Voted for the Democratic nominee among Trump disapprovers. I got 2017, Trump's first term, and 2025 in New Jersey.
What the heliante? I don't know what happened. I just lost my internet for a little bit. But I'm back. I think it's one of the dumbest moments to actually capitulate to the Republicans. Like, I can't think of a mathematically worse moment to do it. Like, one, people do actually find the Republicans accountable for the shutdown for once. So that's number one. Number two, what was this all for if the Republicans could just learn the lesson that, oh, we can just like kill the poor and the Democrats can't do anything about it? And lastly, you're doing this right after the voters actually rewarded you for taking action against the Republicans. They blame the Republicans for the shutdown. If you just stop it without any concessions, then they're going to blame you for it. They're going to be like, oh, you idiot. So you did actually shut down the government. The only way they're going to potentially make sure, dude, can you imagine? They're actually trying to end the shutdown, the Democrats are, to protect the filibuster. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. Oh no. Donald Trump says he's going to abolish the filibuster. Democrats come in hot and say, oh, all right, we're done with the shutdown. No more shutdown. And then they say, oh, it's because people were suffering too much. But it's because they want to keep the filibuster. No, that's too evil. That's too evil. But could you imagine going along with the shutdown for 37 days only to turn around and be like, actually, you don't have to give us anything. We'll just drop it. Please don't take away the filibuster from us, Mr. President. And the timing of it couldn't be worse. It's like right after a major wave of Democrat swings. Like, the population very clearly, correctly holds the Trump administration accountable for the shutdown. And they want the Democrats to fight back. And the Republicans are openly like, fight back. Well, I guess we're gonna starve people next. And the Democrats can't even message that. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand, man.
Approval ratings, this says, nah, they're going to be like impalas getting chased down in the African desert by a big lion. Look at this. 93% of Trump disapprovers voted for the Democratic nominee in New Jersey, and 92% voted for them in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. The bottom line is this. What those results on Tuesday night showed us is that Donald Trump is absolutely a drag on Republican candidates in New Jersey and Virginia, likely nationwide. If you are in a state where Donald Trump is underwater, you are in big, big trouble.
What does this mean nationally, though? Because that is what people are really going to be concentrating on now when we look forward to 2026 in the midterms.
Yeah, okay. So the big question is, what does it mean nationally, as you said, Sarah? Well, I mean, at this particular point, Donald Trump is at term 2 lows nationally in terms of his net approval rating. Look at this. These are polls that are out this week. Look at the CNN. He was 26 points underwater. CBS, 18 points underwater. ABC, 18 points underwater. The NBC Hart Public Opinion Strategies poll, he was 12 points underwater. My goodness gracious, he's down there with the Titanic, and this is what is turning in for the Republican Party. That result on Tuesday night was a Titanic proportion, just absolutely awful result. New Jersey, Virginia, Pennsylvania, in terms of those judgeships, those Supreme Court judgeships, essentially, you know,
You know what we need right now? We need to offer a lifeline to Trump by taking ownership over this shutdown in an effort to bring about bipartisanship, in an effort to restore order and compromise for the sake of compromising, and to protect the filibuster. We should end the shutdown. Yeah. Democrats have it far too good.
Those judges, all the Democratic line candidates won. Democrats won their first statewide races that weren't federal in Georgia for the first time in a generation. What we are talking about at this particular point is Donald Trump is absolutely a drag. I spoke about it on Monday. That's what we thought was going to happen, and that is exactly what did happen. Donald Trump at this point is an absolute drag on these Republican candidates. We saw it on Tuesday night, and nationally I expect that result to hold, because at this point Donald Trump is at his term 2 lows.
You're talking about the Titanic. Democrats, before this, right, were on the Titanic. Their approval ratings lower than Republicans. What does that all mean?
Okay, what does that all mean, right? I think there are a lot of Republicans saying, okay, Donald Trump ain't that popular, but the Democrats aren't popular either. And those Democratic low favorable ratings, those will save us. Well, we had a test of that on Tuesday night. So what do we see here? Okay, vote for the Democratic nominee. View neither party favorably. Here's the margin.
Is it confirmed? Semaphore saying 2 hours ago they're holding the line. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe they're just rumors. That's the reason why I didn't say it. The reason why I'm not naming names is because I don't have anything beyond rumors. News. Dems are inclined to keep their shutdown fight going, according to multiple people familiar. Republicans are weighing a funding vote tomorrow, but Democrats are leaning towards blocking it at this point without more reassurance on ACA and federal workers. Dems don't think ours have moved at all since Tuesday's election. Ours say they can guarantee an ACA vote, not an outcome. It makes a lot of sense for us to come together on a joint strategy than have division in the caucus, says Senator Murphy. What's really interesting is that Bernie Sanders is one of the boldest names in this fight. He has straight up said, no, not just the bill. Like, you're going to pass it? And Trump is going to give assurances that he will not veto the funding. Let him call you a liar? Okay, guys, shut the fuck up. We're not doing that.
Thanks very much for joining me. I think there's a lot of confusion out there regarding the government shutdown. How did it happen? Why is it continuing? How do we resolve it? I think these are the questions.
Why are you inside and not outside? Are you a little bitch because of the cold? I was outside all day. I'm inside because I'm streaming. More like a big bitch? Wait, what? Why?
Look at this in New Jersey. If you viewed neither party favorable in New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill won that vote by 66 points. How about in Virginia? Abigail Spanberger won that vote by 56 points. It doesn't necessarily matter, it turns out, that the Democrats are viewed that unfavorably, because amongst those who like neither party, the Democrats ran away with it. You know, I started off with a running analogy, talking about the African desert. These folks are like Usain Bolt. despite the fact that Donald Trump is, despite the fact that Democrats are viewed unfavorably, Democrats are like Usain Bolt because Donald Trump is like rocket fuel and they're able to run away from the pack. And I think Usain Bolt would leave both of us in the dust.
You are also like rocket fuel, and you can just run on out of here after that good segment. See you, Harry.
See ya.
I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening, and we learned a lot. I thought we'd have a discussion after the press leaves about what last night represented and what we should do about it, and also about the shutdown, and how that relates to last night.
My panel is back. David Chalian, I don't remember ever hearing Donald Trump even come close to eating crow. I'm not saying he ate crow, but he came closer than I've ever heard in that soundbite.
Or at least he...
Yeah. It's just, things are working, man. Things are working. Dare I say, too good. And you can't have that. I really hope they stay the course. I'd call my senator, but he's John Fetterman. Oh, God. I'm sorry, dude. That's so ass. Love that guy. Great analysis. I mean, things are looking so good that Dana Fash is like shitting on Trump.
The Republican senators he was talking to should be eating some crow. If he was not willing to step up to eat any, he clearly realized his party does have a problem here on the shutdown. And he was tying that, you know, in the days before the election, he's been urging them to change the filibuster rules. And he's been seeing this shutdown as a real political problem. There is no doubt that that was an overlay of what happened. But so too has been the last 10 months of Trump's second term. That also is a major overlay of what was happening, and voters were responding. And you know, we ask, Dan, and we say, like, was Trump a factor in your vote in New Jersey and Virginia? Now, for roughly half of voters in those states, they say no, he wasn't a factor. But when he was a factor, it was 2-1 in opposition. He drove a lot of the Democratic turnout that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, Dan, I mean, your point about the way the president is accepting or deflecting blame, I think one of the biggest differences between Trump and other presidents is that he is more than happy to blame his own party as long as it's not him, right? It's not, that's why what he said about the shutdown was so remarkable, where, you know, Democrats had a great night. If anything, they've been, you know, handed the opportunity to dig in farther on that. They've been essentially told, you know, keep fighting. The president could, you know, have dug in as well. But what I was hearing from sources, Republicans were like, this is going to mean that people are going to start to give. They're going to start to figure out a way out of this.
Okay, so maybe the right way to say it is that he didn't eat crow, but he served it to them for breakfast. Zolan, nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
This isn't just about the governor's races or the mayor's race in New York or even Prop 50 in California. This went so wide and so deep, way, 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 way down ballots. Virginia, the blue wave went to the State House. In Georgia, 2 seats on the Georgia Public Service Commission were flipped. 3 Pennsylvania Supreme Court justices were retained. In Connecticut, Democrats scored big municipal races, and they flipped Republican seats.
Right. It was down ballot. And in those big races we were talking about, particularly for the mayoral race in New York, you also saw a record turnout that we haven't seen in decades. This was especially somewhat surprising to me just when I look at the conversations that I had with voters during the last presidential cycle, particularly younger voters. You would pick up on a certain almost malaise, like a sense of almost people giving up on the democratic system, giving up or questioning whether their vote actually amounted to something. Now, I mean, look, in many cases, like the tough part now begins for these people that have run these campaigns. But I think you can still have a takeaway of whether it was the frustration with Donald Trump, the broad coalition building, or a focused message on affordability rather than the existential topics that people may not be able to digest. People resonated and they went to the ballot box. They were actually moved and motivated to cast their vote. And that was something that, based off the last election, I think particularly for the Democratic Party, was a concern.
I'm glad you mentioned young voters, and I want to drill down even more on the demographic and talk about male voters, ages 18 to 29, and look at the way that...
Yeah. Mamdani cooked. Mamdani cooked. Oh, yeah. Speaking of cooking, here's our boy Ested on CNN talking about voter resentment of Den's leftward turn.
Don't like him.
That's right.
Just one point on the question of being able to paint Democrats as too far left, which Republicans have done successfully. I mean, that's the reason Donald Trump is in office. But those issues specifically, at least in my reporting, when I was talking to people, were almost always on kind of like cultural issues, right? This was almost always about trans women in sports, for example, or kind of backlash against DEI or wokeness or things like that. That's not really Zohran Mamdani. That's not really Bernie Sanders. That world is willing to have the...
Yes. Oh my God, I'm glad that someone is saying this. Now, the thing is, on the cultural front, this doesn't mean that the Democrats need to retreat, okay? But they need to serve some steak. You can't just serve vegetables. You got to give the people steak, okay? And the problem is the Democrats are perceived as like an annoying, woke, scold, boring, entitled, smug, woke party because they have so cynically at times just weaponized the identity lines over and over again without offering any kind of broad class first policies. They have not centered working class issues in a way that is definable, in a way that is easy to digest with tangible policy prescriptions. Being socially to the left of the broader electorate is fine. It's normal and even good, honestly, as long as you have something that you're offering the people. If you're offering them nothing and you're just also calling everybody racist, then people are gonna be like, oh, f you, even if they are objectively racist.
Fight about left, right, center, because they think that puts them back on economic terms, which is a better place to be than the kind of cultural forward issues. The part of the Democratic Party that became most obsessed with representation, most clearly talking about identity politics, was not the left. The biggest part of that shift in 2020 was a center, more establishment part of the Democratic Party. And that's educated. Yes, the college educated. And that's the part that Trump, that's the part that Trump backlashed against. So I'm saying, I would not say it's fair to put on Mamdani or Sanders just the party has gone too far left. And if they embrace that, that means Republicans get to win because
Mamdani was uncompromising. Zohran Mamdani was uncompromising on trans issues. There was never a moment where he was like, yeah, we got to throw trans people on under the bus. Now, you could say, oh, well, he's in New York. He can get away with it. And sure, there is some truth to that. But that only becomes an issue if you let it be an issue. That only becomes an issue if you don't have other policies. There was never even a moment that neither Cuomo nor Curtis Lewa brought up the trans stuff. There was never even a moment where Fox News brought up the trans stuff. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he had a laundry list of things that he wanted to accomplish, and that forced the conversation around those issues. And when those issues are universal and those issues are helpful for the largest number of voters, you don't want to look like you're the guy saying, no, people don't deserve fast and free buses. Over the last 50 years on social and economic policy, America's moved right. Even Eisenhower and Nixon, for example, supported national health insurance. The leftward turn claims depend on a sleight of hand of focusing on culture and ignoring social and economic issues. A lack of this historical perspective enables, as reclined in New York Times, to cite a bunch of noisy polling data relying on imprecise phrases to argue that Democrats need to move to the right. The Klein and Iglesias, Silver and Barrow and Weigel click will now just repeat this data. The Abundists. I don't know why he said Weigel. Does he mean Dave? I feel like he doesn't do analysis. He's just a straight reporter. He just kind of caught a stray there. Maybe he means a different Weigel. One worry I have about Democrats right now is that they do not want to confront how much of the country disagrees with them. Polls show that the percentage of voters saying the Democratic Party is too liberal increased sharply between 2012 and 2024. The percentage of voters saying the Republican Party is too conservative fell during that same period. Even the violence and corruption of Trump's second administration have not fully closed the gap. A September poll from the Washington Post and Ipsos found that 54% of voters thought the Democratic Party was too liberal and 49% of the Republican Party was too conservative. I hate those polls. They're so stupid. Here's Klein, here's Weigel. All these guys really believe this, and it's a facile and misleading characterization of what has happened over the last 15 years, or 30 years, or 50 years, for that matter. Exclusive. Left-wing ideas have wrecked Democrats' brand, new report warns. Wait, what? No, I don't think Dave Weigel is... I mean, this is just reporting. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's just reporting on the new... Maybe because it's an exclusive, it's like a little sus. Maybe that's the reason, but this is the welcome pack shit. He was just reporting on the welcome pack shit. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. He's reporting on the third way report, Lamount? No, I know. Yeah, I don't like the welcome pack. It's not a Heritage Foundation report, but it is like funded by billionaires. In any case, Ested is 100% correct. The reason why people go, oh, the Democrats are so woke, is not because the Democrats are actually woke. They're not. They're nowhere near as woke as they could be. The reason why they say that is because they're absent of any sort of... They don't have any sort of like economic policy that people respond to. So the only thing that they get defined by is whatever the fuck the Republicans say they're riding for. And they can just be like, you're the party that wants, you know, young children to be transgendered or whatever. Okay? And then the Democrats are like, oh no, we hate transgender people. And then everybody goes, what the fuck? No, you're the trans party. Of course. Of course you're the trans party. What do you mean? Another part of the reason why, of course, people think Kamala Harris or thought Kamala Harris was too liberal is because she's black. She's a black woman. That's a lock, no matter what happens. And instead of just her centering everything on like hardline economic improvements, she just did the moderation stuff almost as a defense against people calling her too liberal. And it fucked her up. Zoran is a brown man. And he didn't, he just leaned into it. He was like, I'm socialist. You know what I mean? Oh, this piece of trash law, ban me, please. No, I will not be banning you, sir. No, don't ban him. Unban him. You have to stay in the chat.
They came out, according to our exit poll, David, Mikey Sherrill.
For later, don't scroll replies.
Spamberger in New Jersey, excuse me, Spamberger in Virginia. It was a long night, 56%. Mamdani, 68%. And then compare it to 2024 nationwide, 58% for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and again, you know, nationwide is not these bluer places, right? So there's some of that, but I mean, Mamdani courted this cohort of young men. I think he won them by 40 points against Andrew Cuomo. Again, inside that very blue territory, but it is still revealing. This is young men, Latinos. These are demographic groups that Donald Trump made gains in and powered him to really. I mean, New Jersey was a place where he had narrowed his loss to just 6 points last year because of Latinos, young men, and the like that he made gains with. And you just saw that.
They just showed a picture of you and then a Twitter post of yours on NBC TV Law. They're just talking about concerns about how Zoran will handle anti-Semitism. Help. I love seeing you on my TV. NBC? I don't understand this. Like, are these guys all fake? Are they being fake? NBC's done a profile on me. Are they all turning up? Are they all switching up on me? They're all like, yeah, no, actually, although at the heart, at the absolute peak of everybody calling me a terrorist, at the peak of everybody calling me a terrorist, these guys were literally out there doing profiles on me, positive profiles on me. I don't know, it's not loading the Hannity video. Only to now, after Zoran's victory, turn around and be like, actually, this guy that we glazed up, he was a dangerous anti-Semitic terrorist. Doing a profile on you does not mean they like you. Yeah, but they didn't have to do a positive profile on me at all. Especially during the heat, like the peak of the Hassan is an anti-Semitic terrorist statements flying off all over. Why did you erase part of the HTML? It's because it was a timestamp. NBC is not CBS, chatters.
Those gains were not permanent with Donald Trump not on the ballot and after 10 months of this term. That was given back to the Democratic Party.
And in terms of the 10 months of this term, one of the factors that could be a good data point that is instructive is the question of Trump's immigration enforcement, whether it has gone too far. This is a question asked of Latino voters. 76% of Latino voters said yes in Virginia, 59% in New Jersey.
Yeah, and I think this is really telling.
Bro, is this a joke? It's getting worse. It's getting worse.
More than 1 million New Yorkers voted for Mamdani, and about 10% of them were his own campaign volunteers. Ali Bauman looks at how the candidate was able to mobilize first-time voters.
In his victory speech Tuesday night, Zohran Mamdani thanked the army of volunteers who helped secure his win.
And it's for all of you. The more than...
What's good? Oh, you got it? Hello. Okay, we're back. We're good. So there was a minor issue there. I am now officially connected via Ethernet cable. Shouts out the March. Hopefully there won't be any more access issues. The reason why the internet shut off is because it turns out I wasn't using my wireless. I wasn't even using my Wi-Fi. I was actually connected to the Ethernet with my bag, with my IRL streaming equipment, but it turns out that wasn't the case. It turns out that I was using the IRL streaming backpack to connect to the Ethernet. So when I unplugged the Ethernet cable so I could plug the other long Ethernet cable, it destroyed everything. It bricked everything. Anyway, whatever. We're back. Just know I didn't go anywhere. I'm not dead. And I think hopefully there won't be any drops any longer.
100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force.
Among them, 16-year-old Aki Benjamin. Not even old enough to vote, Aki joined a group of 100 high schoolers canvassing for the candidate.
It was really an amazing sense of community and unity around issues that I feel like isn't so much out there.
Mamdani won every borough except Staten Island and fared well with most racial and ethnic groups. The 34-year-old immigrant candidate reached out to those he said had been forgotten by politics and mobilized large numbers of South Asian and Muslim voters.
I would have never predicted, if you asked me when I was a kid, that a few years later you'll see the first Indian Muslim to be the mayor of the city of New York.
Mamdani's strongest showing, though, may have been the youth vote. Election data shows he held the biggest lead in precincts where the median age of registered voters is 45 years and younger.
I think the community has been the strongest thing that this campaign has built.
Kathleen Horan is co-founder of Hot Girls for Zohran, which gathered hundreds of volunteers, mostly women under 40, and put out T-shirts that became statement pieces.
It became kind of a cool thing for young people to volunteer for Mamdani.
Tom Allen is publisher of City and State New York.
I think it was a way for people to meet people and network and feel part of something.
Horan hopes her efforts retains the interest of these new young voters beyond the campaign.
Because, now we need to start looking at what he's doing. It's time to hold him accountable for everything that he has promised to do.
Ali Bauman, CBS News, New York.
Ben Shapiro is here, host of the Ben Shapiro Show. Ben, great to have you on set. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate
it. Great to see you. What's your overall takeaway as you look at this, and particularly with a view to what we have seen as anti-Semitism and the anti-Semitic problem in New York City?
I mean, I think that many of the things that people are seeing as sort of a bug of the Mamdani campaign, how could he be elected while saying all these anti-Semitic things? That's a feature. The progressive left, the wild progressive left that was tapped in the primaries and then spurred him to victory in the general. That progressive left is very, very fond of anti-Semitism. They're totally fine with not only anti-Israel feeling, but obviously with a candidate for mayor who said to you on the show that he obviously doesn't really care whether Hamas disarms. Like that was something that he didn't mind talking about, which is kind of an incredible thing.
You know, when you break this vote down, not just in New York City, in Virginia and New Jersey as well, we see this young vote, massive young vote, supporting Democrats. And when we came out of 2024, the message was really that there was this resurgence of sort of young conservatives out there. So what's going on?
So I think what the polling is showing is that young people in particular are just unsettled. And what that means is that if they don't get what they want from one party, then they're going to swivel and they will turn and they will vote for the other party. So Joe Biden was very unpopular. The inflation had really eaten away at people's livelihoods. And so people turned in favor of President Trump. I think that there are some warning signs here for young voters for 2026, even 2028, depending on the performance of the Trump administration. But one of the things that you're seeing with Mamdani, one of the things that you're seeing with I think, a lot of politics.
Chairstream, baby, you already know. Stop booing.
These days is if you just say the problem but don't offer a solution, that might be enough. If you just say affordability, 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 and then your solutions are absolutely ridiculous, like tried and true failures, people don't care about the solutions. They just care that you empathize with the problem. The problem is that if you never solve it, then you are going to continue to see this kind of pendulum swing for young people from right to left and then back to right and then back to left.
It's like a generation of people, this is a big generalization, but who want to hear that they're seen.
Yes, yes. And also who have been told.
As long as you feel seen, it's okay.
I think that's right. And I think they've.
That's so, oh, wow. I love when Republicans go back to their roots, right? These are like the OG Republican takes. Oh, well, young people actually just want to simply be seen. They're so stupid. They're so stupid and dumb. They don't know any better. They don't know what's good for them. Like that kind of politics is the OG right-wing politics, okay? They just want unicorns. They just want all the things to be free. Like, it's so stupid. It's like, no, man. They just want someone to address how expensive things are. That's it. That's it. That's all this is, you know? It's so stupid. But it's cool that, like, the left flank of the Democrats forced the Republican commentariat to sound like the original annoying establishment Democrats, but now on the right-wing flank.
Been so told by their politicians, only I can solve the problem. So I see your problem, and it's not solvable by you. It's only solvable by me. And then, inevitably, it's not solvable by politicians, and then people get dissatisfied, so they turn to, the other politician. And, I'm sort of waiting for more candidates to arise who say, actually, most of the problems in your own life are solvable by you, actually, and you should take more action.
This is awesome. Yes. Let's go. Individual responsibility, baby. That's it. That's the OG. That's the OG right-wing message. Oh, get your bootstraps. Like, this is something that Donald Trump has never done. Have you ever heard Donald Trump say, that's right, we're going to bring back the bootstraps. We're going to make you work again. Good things are not possible. This is horrible.
In your own life to make it better.
I'm curious what you think about Mamdani and his rhetoric and the speech last night, which the beginning of it was a lot of thank yous and hope for the future. And then all of a sudden it kind of took this pretty dramatic turn. And that did not go unnoticed by Van Jones. Watch.
The Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer.
Can't say bootstraps, you're busy blaming others for the problem. Yeah. Exactly. But every moment that you're falsely blaming immigrants is a moment where you're not saying the working poor are too poor and too lazy. Ben Shapiro is going back to the OG Country Club Republican narrative, which is the working poor are poor and lazy.
Who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. His tone was sharp. I think he was using the microphone in a way that he was almost yelling. And that's not the Mamdani that we've seen on TikTok and the great interviews and stuff like that. So I felt like there's a little bit of a character switch here.
Sharp, and that he noted kind of a bit of a character switch. What do you think happened now that Mamdani is relieved from the burden of the campaign?
I think that he is saying all the quiet parts out loud now. I mean, he was largely through the campaign, but you could kind of gloss it with the smarmy smile and all of that. But now he's just saying everything out loud. I mean, the line in that speech where he said,
"It's awesome." Rosenberg, Cook, Van On, take.
I got a button for all of the big billionaires and gazillionaires this morning. Congratulations, you played yourself. You could have used that money on something more productive than losing last.
Oh, shit. Dude, that's actually cool as... Brother, this is cool as hell. You got Charlemagne the guy, you got Rose... Like, you got the commentariat. That's Ebro? No, I know. I think Rosenberg speaks on this, I assume, later. Yeah, he does.
Congratulations, you played.
But this is the hip hop podcast vanguard, dude. This is New York royalty for radio.
This morning. Congratulations, you played yourself. You could have used that money on something more productive than losing last night.
Oh boy, I'd like to talk to Van Jones today. I want to talk to him.
Why? What happened?
He's a certifiable bitch, Van Jones. Wow. I can't take this dude anymore. No, I'm tired of it. Wow. I can't take it. He does this all the time. Last night was after Mamdani's speech, where I'm sitting there in bed trying not to wake up my wife, clapping on my phone like, oh my God, this is Obama in 2004 at the convention. Woo! They found someone. This guy's got it. He went for it. That was a very disappointing speech. That was an opportunity lost by Van Jones. I mean, by Mamdani. He had an opportunity to bring people together, and he decided to go the other direction. He was not a unifier like he said he would be. I'm very disappointed. Van Jones.
Also, look at this. Any moment that you are on camera on CNN where they do a side-by-side and that dipshit Scott Jennings has a shit-eating grin, you should immediately reverse your commentary. You should turn around, and if you see him smiling like that, going, yeah, this is going to be used up by all the Fox News right-wing broadcasters tomorrow, you should just stop saying what you're saying, mid-sentence, go, guys, I think I just stroked out. Everything I just said leading up into this moment, that wasn't me. That was the brainworm talking. That wasn't me. That was a stroke. I meant the exact opposite of that. Okay?
I'm very disappointed. Van Jones specifically referenced, and Axelrod echoed, the tone of his voice. He didn't have the soft, friendly tone he has. He had a loud voice.
Oh, man, shut your ass up. He was on the microphone getting the crowd hype. Hit them with the button. Van Jones, you get the bag from Bezos and APAC, bro. We know where you get the bag from. And CNN has new...
What the is going on, bro? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? What the is... Yo, is woke here? Is woke back? Is dark woke back? He said you got the bag from Jeff Bezos and APAC. Do you know maybe like 2 years ago how little, like the total number of people that could say that about Van Jones as a line of attack 2 years prior to today is a handful of people in the media. Okay? No disrespect to these guys. No disrespect to these guys, but like the 100 million from Jeff Bezos, even people in this community probably didn't know about that. And 2 years ago, they never would have even been like, you got the bag from APAC as a line of attack. Wow. Wow. A second woke has hit the towers? Bro, this is woke 2. This is woke 2.0. Oh my God. Like, shitting on Van Jones for his dumbass commentary aside, which is great on its own, but then to tie that up with you got the bag from APAC and Jeff Bezos. I'm done. My work here is done. I don't need to do anything. Okay, my job is done. What more can I say? What more can I say? Ebro's got me. Oh, wow. What a time to be alive, man. What a time to be alive. Ooh, goddamn.
leadership, so they trying to keep that platform. They don't want to get ran out of it.
Hasan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.